right, guys, we are live action. Dr. Andre Pinesett here. And today we're talking about overcoming that failure and how we move from such a stressed out student to being a student who solves problems and gets ahead and be successful. And the key place to start here is that most students fail as students and they fall short of their aspirations in life, not because they make mistakes, but it's because the second they make a mistake, they go the wrong direction. They respond, they react wrong to their hiccup, to their issue, to their mistake, and they start to panic. They start to blame themselves. They start to spiral, and it turns into this paralysis mode where instead of moving forward and growing from things, we lose and we make that failure final, and it's terrible. And so tonight, I'm going to show you a different way, a better way to overcome, to deal with your mistakes, deal with your issues, and actually elevate from them, propel yourself forward, so that way you can change your academic life and your outcomes, right? And this is a follow-up, and it's like I always talk about how the universe brings us what we need. But last week I talked about how I was so proud of my son. I had a proud dad moment when my son told me he was an independent learner. Well, 2 days after that, we had an issue, we had a hiccup, we had a mistake, but we were able to turn it around and move forward. And I want you guys to learn from this, do the same. We're going to lay out a system for you guys to do this as college students, as pre-meds, to elevate your life. And so I'm excited for tonight. As always, we live stream, we're live action. I'm here to serve you guys. So if you have questions, you have comments, put them in the box. Let me know I'm not here alone. And questions I will answer at the very end of this video. So that way we stay on a timeline. But at the end, I will answer questions. And we have no coaching following this tonight. On Wednesdays, I have my coaching with my students after this. So we sometimes can't get all the questions. But tonight, I'll get to all your questions. So put them in the box. Utham, hello. Nick, hello. Just real quick, let you guys know who I am. Let's hit the intro. And we'll get right to it. Today is the day, guys. You're going to take your future into your own hands. You're going to dominate. You're going to be successful. No excuses, just dominate. All right, guys. If the intro didn't tell you who I am, let's recap real quick. I'm Dr. Andre Pinesett, guys. I am a Stanford Medical School graduate. I am an anesthesiologist by day, but my real passion, my real love, my real proficiency, my expertise is in helping students elevate, helping students maximize their potential, whatever that may be. I specialize in working with students who have disadvantage, who are overcoming obstacles, financial, personally, emotionally, academically, whatever it might be, to help you reach your goals, get into medical school, get to the highest of heights. That's what I do, guys. And I streamline you, and I make you highly efficient, highly effective, and have highly predictable, high-level outcomes, y'all. So I change lives, y'all. I'm a transformer of lives. I'm an empowerer of students. And so I'm always excited to be here with you guys. We are live action. And to reiterate, because of that live action, like I said, questions will be answered, so put them in the box. Comment with me as we go. Let me know you're learning. These sessions are meant to be active, right? I know this stuff. I'm here to teach you guys, but more importantly than you guys hearing it, because so often you hear things all the time, it's you actually taking what I'm saying and implementing. So as I go through this, think about, hey, Dr. Pinesett, how does this affect my life? And ask me your specific questions about your specific scenarios so we can have action-oriented instruction and get you over the hump. And then at the very end, we'll have our takeaway activity, because every time I want you guys to have something to take away and to immediately get better, even if you can't see it on your own, I'm going to guide you to that betterment, that improvement. All right, can we get to it? So this all starts, right? We're talking about moving past our struggle, moving past our stress to success. And it's funny because this is such life, y'all, is that in your highest highs, right? Your highs are never as high as you want. Your lows are never as low as you want. None of them are as long as you think. But as soon as you're feeling good about something, you're like, man, I'm locked in. I can't make a mistake. What happens, y'all? Life creeps in and you make a mistake. And so I was hyping up my son last week and how he, at 10 years old, he's an independent learner. And he's telling me, hey, don't check my homework, Dad. And I was talking about the systems we have in place. And we built this identity for him and these habits. And then, of course, right, when I'm bragging on him, 2 days later, he forgets his spelling list at school, right? That's how it goes. And I'm like, son, the test is tomorrow. How do you know your spelling list? And he's like, sorry, Dad. And he starts to get down on himself. And I'm like, stop. He's like, I didn't mean to forget. I said, stop. We don't do that, right? And it's a critical junction. And this is where, as parents, it's easy to go wrong because you want the best for your kids. But also as yourself, it's easy to go really, really wrong here because you want the best for yourself, right? It feels like everything's riding on every single moment. Every single mistake is fatal. And so this right here is the fork that separates those who will succeed and those who will succumb to their mistake, to their mishap, and it will become an absolute catastrophe and a career-ending failure. This is the moment. right? As a parent, this is the moment where a parent might yell, might guilt you, might berate you, might make you feel less than, might make you feel labeled as that mistake, as that issue, right? This is where, as ourselves, we tell ourselves, "Oh gosh, you're terrible. This is just who you are. You're the ADHD student. You're the forgetful student. You're just a procrastinator. You can't do well on tests." We tell ourselves in these moments that that's who we are. But the truth is, guys, and this is truly the students who succeed, this guy in front of you, it's not the mistakes that crush us. It's the emotional reaction to mistakes that end up crushing us and crushing our dreams and keeping us from being our greatness. Truly, it's how we see an issue. And it's like all things, right? Like you see like that little spot on your face, right? I'm an HD right here. You see a little, oh my gosh, that little zit I have. And that zit in your eyes is like the biggest volcano mountain that's ever erupted from someone's face. You're like, how dare I go to school today looking like this crater-faced kid I am? It's all you can see. No one else sees it. But you see it 1,000%. And that's how it is when we're making mistakes, is that it gets so huge, it's so magnified, and we criticize ourselves. We punish ourselves. We lock in that identity. We let it chip away at our positive sense of self, and we become that negative sense of self. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about right now? Right? Comment right now, like if you do. Let me know you understand what I'm saying. You guys are like, dang, you're right. You're right, right? You think to yourself, oh, I am irresponsible. I am not trustworthy. I don't show up for myself. I always mess up. I always make the mistake. I can't do this without help. We tell ourselves these things. And what's the result of that negative self-talk is what it's called. It's that it destroys your confidence, guys. Just doubt yourself. I can't do it. It destroys motivation. Why should I work? I know I can't succeed. It's a waste of my gosh darn time. I'm just doing all this work to set myself up for failure. It destroys any momentum you've built because maybe you were successful like my son was all week, and then we make a mistake. And then we lose all that great momentum and we slide right back to zero. And so when my son started apologizing, here's what I said to him. I was like, come on, no. We don't apologize. I teach both my kids. I said, we don't say sorry, right? We don't apologize. Instead, we find ways to move past it. I told my son, I said, look, don't apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. You made a mistake. It was an accident. It happens. And the truth of life, I said, son, one of the great truths of life that you must understand if you are to be happy, if you are to be healthy, if you are to be productive, is that you are not perfect today and you will never be perfect. You are never going to be perfect. You will always make mistakes. Why? Because that is life. I, your father, who you see as this great doctor and teacher and parent to you, I will never be perfect. I have never been perfect. Right? I strive for it, but I know I will never be perfect. I make mistakes all the gosh darn time. Every single day, I make mistakes, big and small. Nobody is perfect, guys. That's the truth. If you feel you can be perfect, you're lying to yourself and you're setting yourself up for failure. Because when you aren't perfect, it's a letdown. But if we're realistic and we say to ourselves, I want to be as great as I can be. I want to be as consistent as I can be. I want to be as perfect as I can be each and every day. But I understand I'm not going to be perfect. It's a whole different mindset. And when you have that mindset of, oh, you know what? I can be better. I can strive for perfection, but I'm not going to be perfect. It's awesome because then when we have a hiccup, when we aren't perfect, we don't say, oh my gosh, this is so unexpected. We say, this is what it is. And we're able not to get upset. We're able to have an instant calm because we recognize that a mistake is not final. It's an opportunity to solve a problem. It's an opportunity to work to make sure that this mistake, this hiccup, never happens again. And it moves us from this emotional explosion where we implode on ourselves, right? And we go into negative self-talk. Instead, we're going to push, right? Not going to push ourselves down with a punishment. We're going to push ourselves forward, push ourselves up. We're going to propel forward with a solution-oriented mindset. We're going to make room for that solution. Does that make sense to everybody what I'm saying right now? This is such a key pivotal thing that we understand. We cannot ever, no matter what we do, how much we put in place, we're never going to be 100% perfect. And we have to have that understanding and that mindset and that perspective of ourselves and of our journey. Because if we expect our journey to be bumpy, if we expect our journey to be difficult, then it's a much more tolerable journey. It's a much more positive journey than it's like, oh, why does this keep happening? Why do I keep coming up short sometimes? It's going to happen. It's a huge mindset shift. So, all of you guys, I want you to shift from understanding that mistakes are not failures. Mistakes are opportunities to get informed and to move forward as a better student for the future. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. It's no slight on you. It's not you. It's just what happens. And what's cool about this is when we look at it that way, then we can see these mistakes as separate from us. And this is so important. So today I put together, so if you guys don't know, right, I'm an anesthesiologist. And so I put a kid to sleep today. And I do a lot of pediatric anesthesia, and I do a lot of anesthesia for special needs kids. And so when these kids have special needs, behavior problems, so forth, you can't just put an IV in. You can't just do a mask down when we do have them breathing anesthesia. And so sometimes we have to do an intramuscular dart. So I have to go up and I have to stab the kid with some ketamine and boop, and then have them fall asleep that way, and then we can do the rest of our stuff. And so today I had a super big kid that I was doing. And so I had to go up and do this intramuscular jab of this kid. And what is so funny is that I went up and I executed this to perfection, guys. It was so amazing. Like, it was like anesthesia on another level. And I was working with a new nurse today, and she was like, oh my gosh, like that was so much cleaner, so much smoother than other interactions I've seen anesthesiologists have with patients. That was so like great how you were able to move him here and do all these different things. I won't get into specifics of it because it's not about this video. But the point of that was, and I was cracking up with the nurse, I'm like, listen, like I appreciate that and I'm proud of that. And I recognize that that was some pretty baller anesthesia stuff I was doing in there. But the previous anesthesias you've seen from people, I've probably done that a time or two where I gave a little bit too much ketamine, or I approached the kid too fast, or I tried to get them up too fast, and all those kind of things. But when I made mistakes and I had weird outcomes and it was a funky anesthesia day, I didn't get upset. I didn't hide from it. I said, you know what? That didn't go optimally. Let's fix that. And so it allows me to elevate. I use those moments of not being optimal to inform me as an anesthesiologist. And this is the same thing you guys should do as students. Because this information, when you make mistakes, if everything's going perfect, you don't know where your vulnerabilities are. And there's a great book by Nassim Taleb. Let me see if I have it up here. We're live action, guys. I'm looking for a book. Give me a second. If you guys are still with me right now, comment. Let me know. Put your comments in here. Oh, I can't find it. There's a great book. It's called Black Swan. And it's written by Nassim. Utham would know. What's his last name? He's a mathematician, but he writes some great books. But he talks about this black swan phenomenon where people made the assumption that all swans were white because that was all they had experienced. But in actuality, the definition of a swan is not a white bird. There are black swans and so forth. And what he was making the point was, and he parallels and uses all these different examples in real life, is that a lot of times we go through life assuming that because we've experienced certain things that everything's okay. And then you have a vulnerability. And he talks about like a turkey goes all year, right? Thinking life is amazing. Every single day I get fed more and more food. I get fatter and fatter. I do less and less activity. They bring the food right to me, shove it right in my mouth. Oh my gosh, my life is amazing. It's going to keep being amazing. And then all of a sudden, right, it's November right now, perfect timing of this. November comes and they chop the turkey's head off and serve him for Thanksgiving dinner. And this is what can happen sometimes as students, is that when we are having too much success and we aren't challenging ourselves or being challenged by the environment we're in, all of a sudden we get to a new environment where we face a new obstacle and we aren't ready for that and we don't know the vulnerabilities of our system and we get slaughtered like a Thanksgiving turkey. And so when we make these mistakes, hopefully they're small mistakes, this information helps tell us where our system is vulnerable or perhaps broken. It helps us look at where our routine needs reinforcement and needs additional supports to make it solid like a rock. It tells you how you can improve and it motivates you to improve. It gives you a push to say, nah, we can't settle where we are. We have to go up from here. So instead of spiraling, catastrophizing, I told my son, like I tell you guys, don't stress about mistakes. Don't shame about mistakes. Instead, work the problem and see this as an opportunity to level up what you're doing, right? So with my son, here's what we did. Thank you. Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Thank you. I was messing that up. I said Taleb. Nassim, but he's phenomenal. All of his books are amazing. So read those. Highly informative in terms of how you think about life and think about things. Do that. Now, so in terms of my son and this black swan phenomenon. So my son forgets his spelling list, right? And this is going to be, you guys are going to be like, wait a minute, we're going to talk about a 10-year-old losing his spelling list. How's that going to help me as a college student, as a graduate, as a medical student, be better? Guys, as we said last week, as I always say, it's not about complex things, it's about the simple things. And we all have had a spelling list as a young person, and we all have our current spelling lists as adults, right? Whatever it is. And so as we walk through this, I want you to think about, oh snap, I can do that in my life, as we walk through for his example. And then we're going to bring it up and we're going to talk about some higher education level examples, MCAT, or our quizzes, our study assignments, so forth and so forth, okay? So with my son, he forgot his spelling list. And so instead of, right, the guilt, the apologizing, all that kind of things, I said, hey, listen, we're going to work the problem, let's work it. And so we normalize, right? First thing I say is, listen, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, nobody's perfect. It's okay, we have the mindset of we're not going to be perfect, we're going to strive for that. Now we say, okay, now that it's separate from us, we aren't going to be perfect, and our problem is not us, we're not labeled as the problem, as the forgetful student, we tell ourselves, okay, how can I put myself in a position, how can I systematize and create a system to fix what is the issue? And so what we did was we said, okay, wait, what actually happened today? Why didn't you bring your spelling list home? And so my son said, well, listen, I don't know. I'm like, no, there has to be a reason. What caused you to not bring your spelling list home? And he's like, oh, well, it wasn't written in my planner. I said, well, why wasn't it written in your planner? He said, well, I didn't have any homework today, so I didn't write that I had to do anything in my planner, and so therefore I didn't bring any of my stuff home because I thought I had nothing to do. So he made the assumption that if the planner is empty, I have nothing to do. I said, okay, boom. Okay, well, simple logical fix is let's put it in the planner, right? Let's make that an automatic, because even though the spelling list isn't an assignment, let's put that in his planner. So across the top for his Monday through Friday, we put spelling list, and then we put it all the way across the days. So now there are no days where he doesn't think he has an assignment, because he knows every single night, I've got to bring my spelling list home. That's that visual reminder, that anchor every single week. Boom, spelling list, spelling list, spelling list, spelling list. And we went through for the next month and we wrote it for all the month or all the weeks. And then what's cool about that is then we can fast forward that the next month. So starting every month, let's put spelling list there. So we have that for every single week where it's a reminder. But for you guys, right, how many of you guys have put something in your planner? It's going to remind me. I set a reminder for this. That is just one layer. But real successful students, like I was talking about anesthesia earlier, is it can't just be a plan A. We have to account for when things aren't the most perfect. What if I don't look at my planner? What if I lose my planner? We have to have a plan B and a plan C. So if we can have multiple layers in place, it provides a protection layer to allow us to, that slipped through the cracks, but then these catch us and they can't flip us through the cracks. And so as someone who's worked in healthcare quality improvement, one of the models that we use to talk about mistakes and breakdowns in systems in healthcare is the Swiss cheese model. And it talks about how you want to think about the systems you put in place as pieces of Swiss cheese. And that Swiss cheese is unique in that it has holes in it, right? And so every piece of Swiss cheese will have a set of holes in it. But then if we have a different piece of Swiss cheese, that has holes in different places. And so the point is, if we put enough layers of protection, enough pieces of Swiss cheese, that there will be a redundancy and that the holes won't overlap and we'll have enough surface area to prevent anything from going straight through all of our layers. And that's what you want to do when you put in your systems. So our first layer for my son was spelling list across the planner. Great. The next layer is, I said, listen, that's not sufficient. Let's go ahead and put one of those clear pockets, right? It's a single clear pocket into his 3-ring binder. And we're going to label it spelling list. And so now every week on Monday, when you get your spelling list, it goes right into that pocket. And so now we always bring our binder home. The spelling list comes right with us. It always comes home. So now it's automatic. I get my spelling list, goes in the pocket comes back and forth. Easy peasy peasy, right? Second layer. The third layer, I said, just in case some funky stuff happens, you always bring your spelling list home on Monday because that's the day you get it. We're going to go ahead and make a copy of that. We're going to take a picture of it on Monday. So that way, no matter what happens, it loses, your binder blows away, I don't know what happens. Now we've got redundancy, we've got a backup. And so there is no stress, because if something does happen where you don't check your planner, if you lose your binder, whatever, we got the backup list. And so you're always good. And this is so great, guys, because we identify one small mistake and then we create a 3 simple systems and the problem is solved. There's no way we're not bringing the spelling list home. And what's cool about them then is it gives him the opportunity, and for you guys as students, to say, okay, in what other areas am I vulnerable? In what other areas have I forgotten something? How can I be less forgetful? How can I have redundancies in what I'm doing? That's how you level up. Does that make sense to everybody? If we're making sense right now, guys, we are live action. Like this video. I'm Dr. Andre Pinesett. I am the pre-med productivity expert. I'm always here to help you guys be more positive, be more productive, and reach your goals. I am live action every Monday, every Wednesday on this YouTube channel. Afterward, it goes over to the podcast. So you can listen to this, guys, on your drive, your walk, your run, whatever, and get on any of your podcast platforms you love. So make sure you guys subscribe, turn on notifications. If you guys are enjoying this, make sure you guys comment, let me know. If you do listen to the podcast, take the time, leave a review. It really encourages me at night, like to sit down in the dark and read those reviews. And, oh my gosh, I am impacting students. I love it, right? That's what I live for. So all of that good stuff. But one small mistake, 3 simple systems is an opportunity to solve this problem and go there, right? That's the part 1. We don't want to have shame. We want to recognize we can be better. Let's be happy. Let's be confident. Let's know that we can come back from anything that happens. Nothing is final. We don't have to shame ourselves. We don't have to beat ourselves. We don't have to flog ourselves about it. We have the potential. We have the opportunity to grow from everything. And the more mistakes we make, the more mishaps we have, the more growth we get to have. Yes? That's what it's about. And so for you guys as students, number one thing I thought of when this happened was, this is MCAT life. Oh my gosh, the MCAT, guys. How many of you guys have the frustration of studying for the MCAT? How many of you guys haven't even started studying for the MCAT yet, but you are fearful of the MCAT and of the preparation process of the MCAT? Yes? How many of you guys are in medical school and you live in constant fear and doubt and worry and stress and anguish about, am I going to be ready for this shelf? Am I going to be ready for step 1? Am I going to be ready to be a clinically competent doctor when I get to clinical rotations to intern year? How many of you guys live in this worry? We have to change the mindset here. When it comes to all of these things, we have to recognize we are in school. Why? To learn. We are in medical school to become a doctor, not be a doctor in that moment. We are studying for the MCAT because we must prepare for the MCAT, not because we are already prepared. Otherwise, we wouldn't need preparation. So we must change our mindset as we go through these pathways on these roads to say, listen, this is about preparation. This is about growth, and I cannot grow if I'm not making mistakes. In your MCAT prep, you should be not just neutral about missing questions, you should be thrilled. You should be ecstatic every time you miss a problem, because when you miss problems, what happens, guys? It means you've identified a weak spot in your fund of knowledge, or you've identified a weak spot in your testing approach. And it gives you an opportunity to work that MCAT problem and to create real, meaningful growth in your fund of knowledge, in your test taking, which is going to result in real growth on your MCAT score. Too many students approach the MCAT with this mentality of, I've got to get questions right. I've got to get my percent correct up. And the problem with that is that then you're focused on getting questions right and you get excited about those, but every time you get a question right, you already knew that. So then you're not preparing, you're not growing for that MCAT. So you want to suck up and embrace all the mistakes. When you have a mindset that mistakes are bad or missed questions are bad on your MCAT, what do, guys? We feel terrible about ourselves. Our confidence is affected. We're like, this isn't working, I'm missing questions. We miss the question, and because we're frustrated, because we're upset about the mistake, about the missed question, what do? We rush to move forward to a correct question. And we don't really sit with that question. We don't really troubleshoot that question. We don't confront that question. And if you don't do that, you can't grow. You can't have thought about it and created real understanding. You can't have taken a good quality note that's going to last you to MCAT test day. You can't get better. So we have to shift that mindset to say, listen, I want missed questions. As new medical students, the same thing. A lot of you guys get to medical school and you've been great your whole careers. You've been able to learn everything. But you get to medical school, it's too much information. It's too fast. And so you get this frustration factor of, oh, how come I can't know everything? You have to change it to, listen, I'm not going to know everything. And that's okay. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to get 100% on every med school exam. But can I learn a lot this block? Can I feel like I'm competent, like I understand the heart? Can I feel like I'm competent, like I understand the kidney? Can you create that in your mind? Can you say, over this 4 weeks, I'm going to learn as much as I can, and I'm going to do my best, I'm going to give my all, and whatever happens, I'm going to get there. And then at the end of this block, if it doesn't go as planned, or if it does go as planned, I'm going to look for ways that I can get even better, that I can make next block even better. And the students who are great medical students and who become competent clinicians are those students who every single block they see as an opportunity to improve, to refine their studying, to improve, to fortify their fund of knowledge, to improve their study approach, all of these things, and to become this master clinician. And we level up and we level up and we level up. And as I was mentioning about my anesthesia earlier, even as an attending now, as an independent practicing physician, right? I own my own practice. I still evaluate, I still troubleshoot, I still problem solve, and I look for ways. You know, something is great. How can I make it faster? How can I make it more steadfast, where I can reliably get that outcome? How can I make this more streamlined? How can I, all of these things I do every single day so I can continue to get better and to grow from what happens in my experiences. I'm using that information to propel myself forward. Yes? Does that make sense to everybody? When you guys as students, how many times have you guys been meaning, you told yourself, hey, this semester is going to be different. This semester, I'm going to stay on top of my assignments. And then what happens? Okay, that report is due. I got this group project due, and we blow it off until the very last minute, right? We do that procrastination thing, right? We all procrastinate. If you guys are procrastination people, if you struggle with that, guys, please check my YouTube channel. I got a ton of videos about overcoming procrastination. But if you've done that, how easy is it for us to get down on ourselves and say, man, I did it again. I forgot my book report. I might as well just throw away this semester. Don't do that, guys. Instead, take that exact moment to say, listen, I got here. I'm under pressure. I'm going to push through to the best I can on this assignment. And then I'm going to remember this pain, this anguish, this regret I feel for being a master procrastinator. I've been there. And I'm going to use this moment. I'm going to use this emotion. I'm going to harness this to tell myself I never want to feel this low again. And in moments where I choose or I might choose to procrastinate, I'm going to tell myself I can't procrastinate. As good as watching that show is going to feel, as good as scrolling TikTok's going to feel right now, I'm going to feel a million times worse when my grade comes back and it's a bad grade. And I know that that bad grade is going to make it harder and longer for me to get to medical school or get to my career goal. I'm going to harness that pain in that moment. I'm not going to look away from it. I'm going to look into that mistake. And then I'm going to say, well, what was the breakdown here? What are my procrastination drivers? What are things that I have in place? Where are my barriers to procrastination? Right? I teach my students about putting up, eliminating study barriers and creating barriers to distractions, to interrupters, to detractors from our success and our productivity. Where are your barriers? Are you aligned against yourself, or do you have systems in place that protect you? That's the question we're asking ourselves. So if you forget, what are we putting in place? What is our weekly planning ritual, like my son? What is our task pipeline? Where is your to-do list kept? What is your calendar? Is your schedule routinized enough? Is it similar? Are you regimented every day, or is it willy-nilly all over the place every single day? It's a juggle of what's happening. It's a problem, right? Same thing with missed deadlines. We do all that stuff. Quizzes. If you bomb a quiz, if you bomb a test, the easy thing to do, the amateur thing to do, what elementary school students do, they shove it in the bottom of their backpack and they hide it from their parents like it never happened. Put it in the back of the locker in your high school. In college, guys, you got to stop doing this. You get a bad score, right? And the professor gives you the opportunity to come to office hours and review the exam. How many of you guys don't go to those office hours? How many of you guys say, I missed the exam, I'm just going to move on with my life? It's inconvenient to go to office hours. Oh, I can't take the test home. I only get a couple minutes with it. It's not helpful. It's 100% helpful, because you can dive in on that exam and see, where are my issues? Is it a testing issue? Was it an anxiety issue? Was it a knowledge issue? Was it I studied this and I couldn't remember on test day? Or was it I didn't never study this at all? Or, I did study that, but I didn't think it was important, so I overlooked it. I looked at this instead. We can troubleshoot and we can improve from that exam. But we have to be willing to face the awkwardness of being there with what you, right, as a student who hasn't embraced the fact that we're not perfect, you look at all the students who are at office hours looking at their exam to improve as losers, as failures. And you don't want to be associated with that loserdom. You want to be a winner who knows everything, right? I'm a know-it-all. Everyone wants to be that. And for me, when I turned my career around, it was swallowing that pride, that sense of wanting everyone to look at me like I knew everything, wanting to fit in and be this guy who's like, oh, he's got this right. Y'all, I was like, I'm okay. You can look at me like I'm stupid. I can embrace that. I can embrace the fact that I was a terrible reader. I can embrace the fact that I was a procrastinator. I can embrace all of these things, that I wasn't a great test taker, that I didn't have a great memorization mind or the methodology to memorize well. I could acknowledge all these things. And when I acknowledge those things and when I identify it as that, it allowed me to free myself of it and say, you know what, that's just who I am. And it allowed me to take the sting out of it, to destigmatize all the obstacles that I had. Anush, hello from India. It allowed me to free myself. And by freeing myself and liberating from myself from that, it allowed me then to, though, be unchained from my shortcomings, from my pain, and go seek out the solutions to my problems. To go seek out creative, effective ways to overcome, to become the super reader. Now, I'll outread anybody on this planet. Put me in a room with a book, it's over. It's over. From worst reader to world's greatest reader, how does that happen, guys? It comes from facing the fact that I don't read well, right? I have some students who are dyslexic. I have some students who do all those things. And what do? They're taught early on to not read, to shy away from reading. And what I explained to them, I said, listen, if you're dyslexic, if that's your issue, you need to read more. What? None of this said. I said I need to go to lecture and listen to the teacher because nah, you need to be in the gosh darn book. Huh? If we avoid our deficit, if we avoid our issue, we can never improve. And if you are a dyslexic student, I'm not ever saying you're going to be the world's greatest reader. But how much better would your life be if you were 10% better? 20% better? Well, if every single year you're reading and you're getting those practice reps in and you're on that growth curve, then by the end of college, how great of a reader are you? And then you're ready to read in medical school. And I have that right now. I have a student who's dyslexic. He's in medical school and he reads and he loves to read. Why? Because we started practicing that skill. I gave him tools to read effectively, right? If you guys see in my description box below, I have a link to my Prime reading protocol. You guys can check that out. But it's my system, my methodology, my foolproof way to go about making you guys super readers. And you learn all these steps and these processes and the systematization of reading to be effective at a high level. And so he did that, goes through that process. Now he's in medical school and he loves to read. That's what it's about, guys. So we lean into those things. And at the same time, let me say here, part B is we don't rely on our weakest area to be successful early on. So if you're dyslexic, I'm encouraging you to read, but I'm not saying that your reading is going to be foolproof from day one. And so one of the things I teach my students is we must start external and move internal. And what I mean by that is yes, we are working internally on our dyslexia, but we must have an external guide to that that's going to help us and supplement us in the meantime. And so we'll do double duty. We'll continue to rely on lecture, to rely on different things to work around our dyslexia, but at the same time, we're creating practice opportunities in reading with our dyslexia side by side, so we're doing double work. Why? Because we're improving as a reader, and we're locking in our grades and our performance on the other side, and then eventually the two converge, and you start doing less of the lecture, more of the reading, and then it starts to become less work. But early on, when we have our disabilities, our disadvantages, we're going to have to work harder. And that's something we have to lean into, and that's okay. But by working that hard early, we always front load, by working that hard early and developing the skill, it's going to save you a ton of pain later on. We're preparing for that rainy day. All right, we're not waiting until we're broke to start saving up some nickels. Save up some nickels now, so you got it. How many of you guys, right, are constantly being distracted in your room? I've said it time and time again. Your number one enemy is your phone, y'all. Some of you guys are on here live with me right now because you got a phone notification. You were supposed to be studying or something else. You got a phone notification. Hit Dr. Pinesett's live action, spitting that knowledge. And I can't miss a Dr. Pinesett session, and you came here. And I always want you here, but some of y'all have other stuff you need to be doing at this exact moment. Plan your studying differently so you don't need to study during our 4 p.m. Live streams on Mondays and Wednesdays. Do it some other time. But either way, the point is get rid of your gosh darn phone. You guys are... I think the phone, and this happened. I had a patient who did just a tiny amount of cocaine today before they came in. Yeah, that's what they told me. I said a little bit of cocaine, a little bit of coke. Just a little bit of coke this morning. Get myself up and get here. It's early in the morning, a little bit of coke. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Case canceled, right? But what I want for you guys is as you guys go, I want you guys to just look for ways we can get a little bit better. Look for ways we could just constantly be improving, guys, pushing ourselves, right? And when it comes to the phone, the reason I bring this up is like cocaine. I think phone, like you guys don't have the DARE program anymore, you young bucks. Back in my day, we grew up with the DARE program. And it was like, listen, don't do drugs, but just say no. Some of you guys need DARE for the phone. Like we need phone awareness week at schools. I'm pushing for it right now. You guys heard it here first, okay? It's an election year. On the ballots, we need a week of phone awareness, iPad awareness, where you guys recognize it is okay. The world won't end if you put the gosh darn phone down right now. If you were to turn your phone off, the world won't explode. The world will go on, and actually, the world will be better because you'll be living in the real gosh darn world, getting real work done and getting real results done. Right? Rashard just put in the box here. I'm gonna put this up on the broadcast. Wait, that's the wrong one. He said, this is gold. This one here. He said, LOL, I'm studying right now and I got you on YouTube. Guys, don't do it. Rashard, sign off right now. Like, put the phone away, guys. Save yourselves. Get off the phone. Please. I can't, like, man, the phone is a killer. I literally I have students shout at me and I'm trying to teach them something and they'll get a notification for the phone and I'm midstream. Yeah, I'm delivering crazy clinical knowledge. I'm educating them and they pull their phone out and they look at the notification like it's something important. I'm here, Dr. Pinesett, in front of you. You're in a clinical environment, learning anesthesia. What is more important than being here with me right now? That could be happening on your phone. It's your roommate telling you something crazy, sending you a picture of their toe. I don't know. Focus in. Put the phone away. My distraction people, please. I don't care what you hear on the internet. Put your phone away. It's not your friend. Phone, not friend. Unfriend the phone. Yep. Last thing I want to say, and I'll get to you guys' questions. You guys have questions, put them in the box. We'll answer them before we go. But the last thing I want to say is a lot of what we talked about tonight is systems and processes and working the problem and looking at it. But the biggest lesson you guys can take away from this is that identity creates outcomes. And one of the things I say a lot on here, I talk about how the greatest disability is the inability to see yourself as more. And for some of you guys as students, you have formed a negative self-identity. Show of hands, right? Comment in the box right now. Say, hey, Dr. Pine, say, you right. I am filled with self-doubt. I constantly not only doubt myself, but I express that doubt to myself loudly in a shouting voice. And I tell myself, you can't do this. I tell myself, you're a failure. You tell yourself all the negative labels in this world. You identify yourself as a sucky student instead of a super student. How many of you guys do that to yourselves? You have to understand that disability, disadvantage, negative self-identity, they're self-fulfilling prophecies. And so it's so important that we acknowledge that we have issues, but that we don't identify as our issue and we don't identify our issue as a limiter of our ability. And I'll give you guys a practical example. How many times have you looked at an assignment and said, man, this assignment is too much work. It's going to take me forever. And then you spend so much time thinking about how long the assignment is going to take and how difficult it is to take that you literally procrastinate and then you don't have enough time to do the assignment. And you end up doing most of it in a short period of time. You're like, dang, man, if I wish I started a little bit earlier, I could have got this whole thing done and it could have been great. And you recognize, man, I could have done this. But your identity of someone who can't do big things, who can't do difficult things, it manifests, right? Because your thought to yourself was, I can't do this. So then what did happen? You didn't do it. And then what's the outcome? You didn't do it and you get the F. We have to fix our identity. And in this moment, it was so great to have this quick conversation with my son and break it down because even though he was hard on himself in that moment, at his core, he identifies as a capable person. And I love my son. I'm so proud of him every day. I tell him and my daughter, like, my kids are the best, y'all. Like, my kids are the bee's knees of this earth. I love them. They're the world's greatest human beings. And I tell them every day, I love you. I'm so proud of you. It's so amazing. It's not smoke. It's just reality because they're amazing. But what I'm most proud about in them is that they know they're amazing. And not because I tell them, but because they understand the growth mindset. They understand their potential to learn from things. And they aren't defeated by circumstance. They aren't defeated by missing out on something. They see themselves as independent learners, as problem solvers, as people who can figure things out and who can overcome. And they're not, they never cry about exams. That kind of, it's awesome. It's great. And so for all of you guys, I encourage you to build that identity for yourself because it protects you from mistakes. It protects you from haters. It protects you from your own haterade, right? And this is how I transform students. We start always with identity. And so on my website, guys, it's premedproductivity.com. I have my 3-day successful student mindset makeover. Guys, it is super affordable. Don't let the price tag fool you. It's very powerful. And it's the place where everyone should start because if your identity isn't right, if your mindset isn't right, you can't do anything else. Believe to achieve is a lie. If you believe it, oh my gosh, I believe I'm an A student, doesn't mean you're being an A student. But the absence of belief will inhibit you from your achievements. So if you don't believe you can be more, you will never be more. If you don't believe you can be the A student, you will never be the A student. It all starts with belief, and that starts with our mindset, the way we see ourselves and we see our potential and we see our world. And we have to take control of that, guys. So check out my Successful Student 3-Day Mindset Makeover. I'll put a link in the box after we're done here live action, but get into that course, guys. Soak up all that good information, level up, go forward, get your head on straight so you can stop being the stressed out student, the struggling student, and start being the successful student that you want to be. We got to start seeing ourselves as more. I want you guys, as our takeaway action for today, I want you guys to affirm yourself. I want you to reaffirm yourself. I want you to write down, after this video, take a second, like after the video, and I want you to write down 5 identity elements you would like to embody, that you are going to tell yourself, this is me as a student, right? For me, I tell myself, I am a disciplined student. I am a disciplined person. I tell myself, I am a problem solver. If problems should arise, I can solve it. There ain't no problem. There is no problem that I can't solve because I am a problem solver. I tell myself, I am someone who finds a way, right? There was a quote, the Detroit Lions head coach, Dan Campbell, right? A couple years ago when he became the Detroit Lions head coach, people thought he was crazy because he said, I don't matter what's happening. We'll do whatever it takes to win. We have to bite kneecaps. And people laughed at him like, I'm going to bite kneecaps. But when he said that, it resonated with me because I'm like, I'll bite some gosh darn kneecaps. I don't care what it takes. Whatever work I have to put in to reach my greatness, to fulfill my potential, to get to my dream, I'll do it. I'll bite some kneecaps. I don't care. I'm crazy. I'm crazy about my dream. And so that's the way I see myself. I am someone who will find a way, and I will do whatever it takes. Even if other people are unwilling to do it, I'm willing to do it because it matters that much to me. So I'm a person who will find a way to get it done. I tell myself, I am someone who is capable of excellence. Not I'm capable of getting by, capable of surviving. I'm capable of excellence. Too many people in this world, guys, walk around being average because they never had the even inkling to think I could be excellent. And there's a quote, and I'm going to butcher the quote. If you guys know the correct quote, put it in the box. But it's, and then we're live action. There's something to the effect of, I asked the world for a penny and it gave it to me. But if I would have asked for more, it would have gave me that too or something like that. I forget. You know what? Let's Google it. Let's see. Let's see. What's the quote? This is the internet era, right? So it's Jesse Bale Rittenhouse. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at the evening when I counted my scanty store, for life is just employer. For life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask, but once you have set the wages, why you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. And some of you guys are like that, where you're like, I just want to get by. So then what happens? With that mentality, we look for strategies, we look for tips and hacks that allow us to get by. Oh, I just want to get this grade. Okay, fine, and you get that grade. But what if you had asked life for more? What if you said, you know what, instead of just being average, instead of just getting by, I want to thrive. I want to not only get the A, I want to do that A in less time. I want to love school. I want to have time for my family, time for extracurriculars. I want to push it. I want to ask life for everything. You can get that. But you have to change the mentality. So I constantly am telling myself, you are someone who's capable of excellence. You're capable of more. And by doing that, guys, it changes how I approach everything as I'm looking for where's the pathway to excellence? Where's the step process to excellence? Where can this excellence be found and cultivated and created in me? I need to be excellent. So I affirm myself and I end my affirmations. No excuses, just dominate, guys. I tell myself, anything that is a deterrent to me, Anything that might be negative, it's not real. It's an excuse. It's imagined. It doesn't matter. It's an opinion. The facts are I can and I will and I must dominate no matter what. Bam. And by doing that, guys, it sounds stupid, but every single day I say this to myself. I'm disciplined. I'm a problem solver. I find a way. I'm capable of excellence. No issues, just dominate. I say it to myself. It changes me. And I'll just say it. So one of the exercises we do in my several student 3-day mindset makeover is I make my students stand up and I make them crow. And I make them say, no excuses, just dominate, domination. And I make them yell at the top of their lungs. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to blow everybody out. I'm on a microphone right here, right? But domination, I make them give it to me. I make them feel. And it's amazing to look at the commentary underneath that part of the course. And people are like, holy cow, like my roommate's freaking out or blah, 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 whatever. But I feel so. It changes you guys to say your beliefs out loud, to really give it the full guttural utterance of everything you got, to really truly embody that. It changes you. You will think differently. You will study differently. You'll recover from mistakes differently, and you're going to live entirely different. How I changed my study game, I changed my whole life, y'all. I changed my whole personality, my whole identity to be that of greatness, right? You see the shirt. Nobody studies smarter. Nobody anesthesiologizes smarter. Nobody lives smarter. Nobody does anything smarter than me. That's what I believe. And because of that, I succeed and my life is incredible. Yes, yes? I'm always here to help you guys. So questions, put them in the box. Put them in the box. If you're watching this after the fact, put your question in the box. I'll add it and I'll do videos on it later. I have no problem. I'm here for you guys. What's the one thing you're struggling with right now? What's the one thing you can use a level up on? Say, hey, Dr. Pinesett, do a video on this. Are you forgetting assignments? Are you falling behind? Are you struggling with test anxiety? Or are you struggling with your mindset? Are you dealing with personal issues? Are you having trauma that you're dealing with? What is going on? What's the issue? And then while you ask that and you put that out there, I want you to start thinking about it. Start problem solving it. Start working the issue and saying, listen, why am I in this situation? How did I dig myself in this hole? How can I dig myself out? What's going on? Right? And we go through it. So think about that and go through that. I don't see any questions. Yes, bounce back. Exactly. All right. So I don't see any questions tonight. No one wants to ask questions, but just commenting. I appreciate you guys coming on here and commenting. Thank you so much for that. So if that's it, we'll be back Wednesday. It's Monday. We'll be back Wednesday, same time, 4 p.m. Pacific time. If there's things you want to talk about, guys, I'm here for you guys. Please comment. Please let me know what you want to talk about. Additionally, make the leap, guys. Get to my website, premedproductivity.com. Get into one of my courses. Get into one of my coaching programs and transform your life. Let me show you the pathway to excellence, the pathway to greatness, the pathway to efficiency. Let me help you level up. I'm here for you guys. Get it done. I thank you for being here. What do we say? How do we always end these sessions? It was a trick. It's not on my shirt today. Got nobody said he's smarter on today. We always end these sessions. No excuses, just dominate. And this is another example, real quick before we go, of me practicing what I preach. Every single day I say to myself, no excuses, just dominate. So that way I believe that. I hear that every single day. And when we do these live streams, the reason I end with no excuses, just dominate, because I want you to have heard it today. I want you to have understood it. I tell you, how do we always end? I said, we always end. I want you at home saying, no excuses, just dominate. Why? Because I want you having the opportunity to recognize, it's not about me, it's not about other people, it's about you and what you believe. This is an opportunity to change what you believe, that you can be the domination. No excuses, just dominate, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I'll see you guys Wednesday, same time, same place. Later, y'all.
That's it for another episode of the Premed Productivity Podcast. Show your love by smashing the like button and commenting in the box below. Today is the day, guys. No more excuses, no more complaining. You're going to take your future into your own hands. You're going to dominate. You're going to be successful. I challenge you. What are you going to do today to make your life better? Get to my website, premedproductivity.com. Grab a free ebook, sign up for a free webinar, and if you're really ready to transform, enroll in one of my life-changing courses or coaching programs. You have greatness inside you. Let me show you how to unlock it so you can dominate and make your dreams a reality. No excuses, just dominate.